Good afternoon. Thank you guys all for coming. My name is Winch. People who know me know that I love sports. I'm constantly doing something, and I'm always in season, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, and new this year, cross country. Being involved in sports has given a lot to me during my time here in Bow High School. It's given me skills that I've been able to use in school, on the field, and in the community. So, when I went to choose my topic, I knew I wanted it to involve athletics in some way, and it forced me to think about what sports has given to me and in what ways. Looking back, I've learned many lessons from all the sports that I've played, but one lesson that has stuck with me has been how good leaders and captains have had the ability to impact so many. And because of this, I was finally able to choose my research topic. In what ways are student athletes effective leaders both on the field and in school? So from completing my research, I came up with the thesis: student athletes are effective leaders in the classroom and on the field because of their ability to be courageous and communicate, their confidence in what they're trying to achieve, and their positive attitude and character towards others. I'm very passionate about this topic as I consider myself a student athlete that has leadership experience. Research in leadership has helped me wrap my mind around what a real leader should do when experiencing a problem and the many ways to go about this. When I think of leadership, the first thing that comes to mind is character. I think of the quote by John Wooden when he said, "The true test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching." In order to become respected, people must trust in the leader and the consistency of their choices. This comes from knowing that this leader will make the same decision with or without an audience. They will make the decision that benefits everyone and solves the problem, not just for their own personal gain. Great leaders not only communicate their idea, but are passionate about their solution. This creates a powerful vision that makes others want to follow them. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. So ever since I can remember, I've been playing baseball. It's a horrible form, by the way. Whether I've been hitting off the tee or pitching in the championship game last year, I've gotten to where I am because of the leadership and coaching of others. Growing up, I've played for the BAC, and it was because of them that I've gotten to where I am today. This is a picture of when I was 9, just learning to pitch, and I'd like to think that I've gotten a lot better since then. But I wouldn't have gotten to where I am without the coaches and players that devoted their time to teaching me the mechanics. Now, because of this, I knew that I wanted to give back to either the Bow baseball program or softball program in some way, so I decided to help out Coach Rick Ladd with his softball clinic over the summer. So I spent 2 hours every Sunday doing hitting drills with the girls that came to improve their skills. At the beginning of every practice, the coach and I would throw training balls, as shown in the top right, to try and improve hand-eye coordination. And after that, set up tees and worked on hitting form. And at the end of every practice, I would stand in the middle of the baseball field and toss a bucket of balls to every girl that wanted to see how far they would actually hit. So, from doing my community connection, I have learned a lot about myself and the girls that I've been working with. It's amazing to see which girls actually went home and practiced the things that you work with them on. Even though I had to give up my time in the summer, the feeling after helping these kids was so great that I was anxious to come back week after week. I really enjoyed helping out, and I hope that the players learned as much from me that I learned from them. So when I was trying to decide what to do with my project, I was struggling because baseball season was already over, so I knew I couldn't run a baseball clinic, considering the season had just ended and the kids would be moving on to their next sport. I then thought that I could make some improvements to the existing practice mounds because I just pitched on them all year and I knew that they could use some work. I then met with Coach Forbes, and together we came up with the idea of adding cubbies to the back of the dugout. Every year there's been the problem of not having enough space inside the dugout because everyone just throws their bags, so there's no room to walk around. So I figured that if I could add cubbies on the back of the dugout that people could put their bags and their helmets, there would be enough room so everyone could walk around in the dugout. So at first, I gathered some ideas, went down to the dugout, and took some dimensions. I had some creative solutions, and I did some sketches of what I thought would work. I figured out how much wood I would need, and then I went out and got it. After I got the wood, I cut out the different sized pieces that I would need to construct the cubbies. I then laid out the pieces and prepared to construct the first section. This is what the first section looks like when it's completed. I then completed 2 more sections, and now I have all 3 sections completed. It's enough to hold 18 players' bags and helmets. The next thing I did after I finished building him was I had to paint him, and as you can see I ended up getting some help with this one. After the 2 coats of painting were on, I was ready to go and hang up the cubbies. I was lucky that the maintenance people left a wheelbarrow out there, or else it would have been a long trip having to carry each of the 3 sections from my truck across the baseball diamond all the way to the back of the dugout. I finished hanging up the dugouts and screwing in the screws, and I realized that I wanted to make the surrounding of the dugout look a little bit better, because the leaves were all on the bottom, there was rocks everywhere, and the hill was like cutting into the dugout. So I raked all the leaves away, edged the side of the hill, and asked my mentor if I could use some of the extra stone dust and make a path that I could use so people could walk to the cubbies. So he said yes, and I ended up making that stone dust path, and this was my finished project. So in conclusion, I've learned a lot from this project. From assisting the softball coach, I got the personal satisfaction of improving the girls' skills and also learned the value of commitment. From making the cubbies, I have learned that any improvement, big or small, can make a big impact on the local community and hopefully inspire others to do something similar. Lastly, I'd like to thank Ben Forbes for being my mentor and helping me through this process and helping me with the great idea of adding cubbies on the back of the dugout. I'd also like to thank Rick Ladd for letting me help him out with the softball clinic during the summer. And lastly, Mark Nasdan for agreeing to supervise me in finding hours for the BAC. Thank you.